Hi, and welcome to the third series of the Fancy a Brew podcast, talking about adventure, pushing your boundaries, and chasing dreams of underwater exploration. The podcast is supported by Dive Life Scuba Diving Centre, the one-stop shop for all your recreational and technical dive gear and training needs, boasting a 5-star service and their own in-house gas blending and equipment servicing department. For more information, take a look at their website, divelife.co.uk, or on Instagram and Facebook. In this series, I'm going to be chatting to some of the divers I've met along my scuba dive adventures in the last couple of years, ranging from boat skippers, stunt performers, and underwater explorers. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, grab yourself a brew, sit back, and enjoy this week's episode. Yeah, so Laney Grant, welcome to another episode of Fancy a Brew podcast. What brew have you got?
I have normal tea, but I don't have my mug.
Good, neither do mine. I went to pull it out of the dishwasher, and the dishwasher didn't go on last night, so I've got one with like cocks on it. Not actual cocks, like coffee blue dot cocks.
No, my son literally is like, you haven't got your right mug. I was like, oh God, I haven't got time now.
Well, that's literally how we sort of got introduced in it. You wanted to buy one of my mugs.
Yeah.
The podcast mug, so I pinged that over to you, and then obviously we started following each other on Instagram properly, and that led me to see that you were doing GUE Fundamentals, which I haven't done. But I've talked
to be honest, it was your interview with Rich Walker what made me go towards GUE.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I spoke to Christine on Instagram. I randomly messaged her to say about how to get into cave diving.
Yeah.
And she said there was 2 routes. One was with Rich and one was with someone else. And I looked at both and I was like, oh, this, with Rich sounds a bit better. So I searched and Googled his name, and that's how I come across your podcast.
Wicked.
And then followed you, and
kind of fate there, isn't it? How good's that? I've actually inspired at least one person in 80-odd episodes to do something about what they want to do. That was really the only reason I started this. Is I didn't think there was anything out there that I wanted to listen to that was about scuba diving, and equally I didn't think there was anything out there that was really inspirational. It wasn't talking to someone new or offering a platform to someone such as yourself that perhaps doesn't have a massive audience and doesn't want one, maybe. But you might inspire not necessarily another woman, but just somebody to go down that route, because now you've done it, you can give it from the customer's perspective rather than the person who's being paid for that sort of thing. So
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, to be honest, it's this month I've been diving 12 months. That's it.
Yeah, so flying, aren't you?
Crazy, really.
So go on then. Tell us about your scuba diving journey.
I was brought a tri dive just before COVID, which I did, and went on to do my open water with Dale Spree at Portland.
What sort of association was that?
It was Paddy.
Yeah.
I did that, and then obviously COVID hit and everything closed down, and I never dived. And then I was like, best way to get back into it is to do the advanced open water.
Yeah.
So I did that at Vobster, and kind of went down the Paddy route for the following 6 months, doing course after course after course. But I didn't really feel like I was getting anywhere. I mean, my basics, it was kind of like progressing on to more advanced stuff, but my basics were still shit. So I wasn't comfortable with anything. And I was just like, this isn't right. And it's not where I want to go.
I think you could say that about most diving agencies, to be fair. Certainly from my point of view, I've not done any Paddy, but I felt the same. And I got right up to advanced level with BSAC.
Yeah.
It's like the 4th level of basically a 5. So it's right up there. But my buoyancy and trim was horrendous. I didn't feel comfortable in any kit, and every time I went diving, it was a different configuration. It wasn't always the same. The knife was in a different place, or I was meddling about with my hoses, and so I mean, I'm not at all Paddy bashing, and I don't think you are either. But I think that's generally most agencies rush people through because they're either being paid or they're not being paid, so they've only got a little bit of time to spend with them. Yeah, it's hard work, isn't it, being a new diver, and you see better divers at the sort of the edge of the water going in, and you think, how good they are.
I mean, to be honest, I did start the Paddy Tech 40.
Yeah.
Because I did a intro to tech just to try twins out with the mindset that it was not for me at all. But I tried it out, and actually I felt so much more stable in the water. So I kind of ditched all the single cylinder setup and was going to go with the Paddy Tech 40. But then I was like, I can't hold a safety stop. So I'm kind of, why am I doing this course? And I was like, I need to go back to basics. And every time I ask my instructor, what do I need to do? They're just like, go away and practice. I'm like, practice what? I don't really know what I'm doing wrong. So that's, when I looked at the fundamentals, it was back to basics, but no progression until you've mastered it.
Do you think that's because most instructors, like whether they be dive masters or actual, full-blown instructors, don't know what to tell you? Because
to be honest, I think everyone is taught a different way. I just think like they've all got their own little way of doing things, and they're trying to teach you that, and then you have another instructor the next day and they're trying to teach you their way, and it just gets confusing. That's what I like about the GUE, is just one way.
And certainly when we go diving in quarries and stuff like that, or perhaps holiday diving, so your generic paddy stereotypical diving holidays, you go down to the depth and then you'll swim up the edge of the reef, don't you? So there's no real requirement to do a safety stop, even if it's just a safety stop, because you progress through that level quite quickly. You're not doing like a square profile where you stop, even if you're doing your 3 minutes at 5. Because you're doing that as part of your dive, aren't you? So in a quarry, it's generally the same, I think. I don't remember the last shot line I came up in a quarry unless I was training.
No, I mean, and that's it. And also like, always using different configurations of equipment. They always seem to work differently. And I was just never comfortable I was not worried in the water, but it was just always, you're having to double think everything you do. I needed one kind of configuration that I could just get my head around and get used to. So that's, GUE just really, everything's very easy, but it's very difficult to pass, which is I mean, I've known a few people that since I've done fundies that have gone on to do fundies and actually haven't passed it. So it's basically, it's hard to explain. It is just working very much on your trim and your buoyancy. And it's just the way they teach you, like very, very easy step-by-step how to achieve what you want to achieve. Like having a safety stop. When I did my training with Rich, it was every single meter, stop and then do a task, like clear your mask or take your mask off, put it back on. But trying to do that and hold a safety stop at the same time and continuously doing it over and over again.
And terrifying.
It is terrifying, but by the end of the course, you can do it,
But then, do you not think you need to keep repeating that because you've learned it that particular day or week? If you then don't dive for a month, it's gone on it. You've got to keep going and going and going and going. But I've not dived since before Christmas, so I'm going to be a mess when I get in. we're like the first week of March now, so that's 2.5 months.
Yeah, no, I've not dived either because I had surgery and I'm in a plaster cast on my arm and stuff.
Go on then, tell us about that.
To be honest, I was in the garden feeding chickens and slipped in the mud and fell awkwardly on my thumb and tore the ligament in my thumb. So completely severed it, and so it had to be reattached. So yeah, it wasn't my best, but
your arm, wouldn't you? Then do any soft tissue damage, because that's going to take forever to be right, isn't it?
Yeah, but also they like anchor the new tendon, like they take tendon and like replace your ligament with a tendon and then anchor it into your bone. So it's like you have to wait for your bone to grow over it.
How long do you think be out?
Probably to the end of April. I'm really not happy about it. But
do you have to shower with a bin bag taped over your hand and that?
Yeah, or just a bath or something. So yeah, it's not great. But yeah, no, it wasn't the best timing because it was literally I did the fundies in November and then dived a couple of times in December, and then I think it was January I did it, end of January. So yeah, it was terrible timing.
Right, so let me ask you about fundies then, because
go for it.
I've known friends that have done it, and then I've obviously spoke to Rich a couple of times about doing it, and very early in my sort of diving career, I don't think career is the right word, but you know what I mean, don't you? How long I've been diving, probably in the first 18 months or so, I've had this impression, rightly or wrongly, that you had to turn up with a particular skill set and you were going to be tested throughout the week, as opposed to turning up and being taught and then throughout the week and then tested at the same time. But obviously Rich said, well, it depends what level you think you're at. You know, if you just need little improvements, there'll be very little teaching throughout it. But if you come and you're a complete novice as such, if you've just done your open water and then you now are trying to work on your buoyancy and trim, we'll start with that. So I guess it's tailored for the particular
I think
diver.
Also, if you're a new diver, you haven't got bad habits.
Yeah.
Because I was everything I was learning from the beginning. And so it was just a case of going back to the beginning. But if you've been diving for years and have got bad habits that are ingrained in you, then I think you'd find it a lot difficult. Because my partner he's thinking about doing fundies, but he's got so many bad habits from diving for years that I just don't think it would be very difficult to break them. I think for him, like he will really struggle. But everything was so new to me that it just felt like I was learning kind of just the basics again, and I didn't find it quite as daunting, I think, as most people.
What did you struggle on? What did you find pretty hard?
My breathing, because with Paddy, they always say, you know, always deep, big breaths and never to hold your breath. And I've just got so used to always taking deep breaths that were affecting my buoyancy so much.
Yeah.
So you take the deep breath and you start going up, and then you start panicking and dumping all your air and going back down again, and then filling back up with air, and it's literally up and down, up and down. And no one ever in any of my courses said just, you know, smaller breaths. And it's such a simple thing. And I'm just like, why did no one just say that? I'm like, it's so simple. But then, it's like when you take your regulator out of your mouth, just don't breathe, and then nothing changes in your buoyancy.
It's funny you should say that, because you messaged me the other day about who I did my rebreather training with.
Yeah.
And obviously in a rebreather, your loop volume, if you stay at a particular depth, doesn't change. You're just breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out, and it's just going circulating. So the amount of times, certainly I did, and all the other lads who were training with, try and do a breath hold. You know, when you start to move up or down, try and do a breath hold on a rebreather. It doesn't do anything. You just don't breathe. So you're like, you see everyone's face and eyes like ready to pop out because they're holding a breath as they're moving up down the water column. You're like, it's pointless doing it. I still do it now, like a year in.
Yeah. But no, it was just, it's hard to explain, but the very, very simple things of diving that I think instructors in Paddy, they just expect you to know it. And, you know, no one actually just thinks about going over the basics again. Because they always just say, go away and practice, go away and practice. But without, like, that's what I loved about the fundies, because you get filmed and you get to see the film after the dive to see exactly where you're going wrong.
Yeah.
So you know what to correct.
I'm very much that sort of visual learner. Not so much reading books. It show me and then try and explain to me where I'm going wrong, and that will then correct what I'm. So like I'm doing a lot of trampolining and diving board training at the minute, and I can be videoed whilst doing trampolining, but not when I'm diving. There's just nobody there to video me. Although there's a coach, but there's also half a dozen other people in the queue to get off that diving board, so I can't always be videoed doing that particular technique. But the trampolining, where I can, I absolutely understand where I'm going wrong. It doesn't mean I get it right, but I know how I can try and correct it. You know, whether I'm moving my head back too early or whatever in a somersault and things. So I totally get that train of thought works, and certainly coming from the BSAC sort of training agency now, I'm seeing how they are improving how they train their instructors. So not only are they moving on to using more technical setups like a long hose and things like that, they're developing the kicking styles, and they're trying to promote not teaching from knees in the pool. You know, but it's a long way to go, I think, with the agencies that don't use it normally, because those instructors that are still in and have been instructing for 20 years, if they still teach on their knees and they don't know any better, or know how to do it properly, whereas you see RAID and GUE have come from that, haven't they? And that's how they're writing their syllabuses to be taught like that, and the instructors are generally younger or better trained than those volunteers from those other agencies, which is no slight on it. It's not a Paddy or BSAC bash this, just in case anyone's listening.
I mean, every agency have their place, but I just think eventually I want to go down the cave route, and I can't even begin to do that without having perfect buoyancy. So that's just a death waiting to happen, I think.
So what bit did you thrive on? You know, what did you enjoy the most of it?
it was like eye-opening, to be honest. I think that's what, everything was just so simple, because it just, when you read about GUE, everyone's got this opinion and it sounds scary and like it does put you off, I think. But actually I found it so like easy. Everything that was I thought was difficult was made easy. And it just explained on such a very easy to understand way, and
like a level that you understood
yeah,
without going like too technical or too elitist. So that was the impression I got very early on. You know, the like the ninjas of the diving community, and I put that to Rich. I said, you know, people have an opinion that GUE is very elitist. I'm not saying that GUE think they are elitist. Just
no,
people who are not GUE think that they are, because they are actually really good at what they do.
yeah, I mean, for example, when I did my SMB deployment on my paddy, the instructors in front of you, they show you what to do, and then you kind of watched it and you copied what they've done, and then it's ticked off and it's never used again. But on the GUE, it was literally step by step where to clip on and where to clip onto the reel and put the reel through the loop. And it was just very, very step by step instructions, which I love, because I'm just, as long as I follow those steps, it all just works. There's no room for failure. It just, you follow those steps and it works. And it's just, I love that. That's literally just, everything like that blew me away, because everyone has a different way of doing things, and if everyone is doing the same thing, it's so easy. But
You might be inspiring me to get it done, because whilst I've had loads of extra tuition, you know, I've seen other instructors, whether it be Ollie from Dive Life who sponsors this, or when I've been on my rebreather course, or other people that I can dive with, even my side mount course. You know, Gary Dallas run me through it loads, and tried to hammer those sort of lessons home. I think it's a skill that needs to be revisited quite a lot. Certainly the SMB deployment in open water with nothing to grab hold of.
yeah, I
As long
mean,
as
that's,
you can dangle on it, can't you? You can dangle on your bag and it's sticking upright. But it's
yeah,
not right, is it? You know,
no,
it's not
but
bob on.
it was literally all those little things, clearing your mask and just having everything stored in your pockets made a massive difference. Because on paddy, everything's clipped off you, and it's like, you know, when you
Christmas tree.
need to use anything, it's like, where did I clip it? I can't remember. And you're like, you're searching everywhere, and it's, yeah, when you learn it the GUE way and you think, I know exactly what's in my right pocket, what's in my left pocket, there's nothing clipped on, and it just, I feel safer and more confident in the water.
That's perfect, isn't it? That's exactly how you want to be, though. If you're super
Yeah.
confident, the people around you will be super confident about you, and you're less of a danger to yourself, I suppose.
Yeah. But no, it's, I think everyone should go and do it, to be honest. It's just, it's
So,
unbelievably easy. But
so where's it sort of taking you now? Where are you going with it?
well, I need to work on my the valve drills on the GUE, because like my suit was quite restrictive during the course. So I need to get on to do my valve drills, and once I've mastered them and got them signed off, I will go on to do cave one.
Yeah.
Hopefully with Rich as well this year at some point.
Right.
So depending on my arm as well now, which is a bit of a pain. But yeah, I mean, it's all on twins, so I don't need to worry about that. And I'm not so fussed about going, you know, deep with a Tech 1 course. I just want to do caves.
Yeah.
So there's one particular cave in Budapest that I am desperate to dive. I had wanted to dive it this year for my 40th birthday, but I'm probably not going to be ready with my arm causing all this trouble now. But yeah, I will still do it.
Am I right in thinking, looking through your Instagram, that you've done some helping out, haven't you, on some cave diving?
Yeah, because we live quite close to Wookie Hole. I think it's about half an hour away. And Christine dives there. Christine Grossart.
Yeah.
Grossart, yeah. And she asked if I'd come along and kind of help, you know, carry kit in and just see what it's about and kind of, you know, be the photo person and stuff like that. But yeah, it was, oh, I absolutely loved it. Even if it was just carrying kit, I absolutely loved it. It was an amazing experience. And it just made my passion even more for cave diving.
Mega. I've done a couple of jobs where I wasn't needed so much, as in like paid jobs I'm talking about now, and they're diving related now, so it is relevant, where you think, you know, if I go along, wonder what I'm going to, knowledge I'm going to pick up, or is it going to improve my interest in that. But they open up so many other doors. Like, you're seen as a real person, and you're not just a paying customer, are you? They can see what kind of attitude you've got, and how your morale might go up and down, and how you help them. I bet coming out the water after a long dive, you passing them a brew would probably be the most welcoming sight, as well as you taking a load of good photographs for their Instagram or whatever, as much as you helping them get all the cylinders down would have been. So it opens up so many doors, doesn't it? Just being like a bit of a volunteer like that.
But it was certainly eye-opening, because I've always dived at lobster, where you kit up on a bench, you walk a few steps, you jump in, it's so easy. And then seeing them like rig up ladders and tie rope round kit and drop it down, like things, it's literally blew my mind at the amount of planning and effort just to get the dive gear from where you are to actually where you enter the water. It's huge effort, and like a big, why they need like people helping, because they need obviously a lot more gas, like going cave diving, so there's a lot more equipment, and then all the cameras and lights, and
that's something I've spoken to loads of people that done cave diving all over the world through this podcast. I never realised myself until you just said the amount of logistical effort that goes into getting actually in the water. Even getting diving from a beach sometimes can be pretty gruesome, because you might have 100 meters of just horrible, deep, soft sand. But that's nothing, because you can just put them down. You can't just roll them down in a cave, can you? Through a cave entrance, you put them down, because there might have been no way to do it.
I mean, there was 3 of us there, and it was a case of, you go from the car park at Wookie Hole all the way through the resort, the park, to the cave entrance, and then all the way through the cave, and then obviously you've got the viewing platform for the public, and they attach a ladder to it, and everything gets dropped down by rope. And it was about 3 trips, so it was a good couple of hours just to get the kit to the side of the water.
Oh no!
So
and you're not getting wet. I bet you were gutted.
I know, that was the worst bit, but it was. I mean, to be honest, I've got to explore around the cave while they were diving, so I had it to myself.
Nice.
That was really nice, and it was Christmas, so we had all the lights.
Sweet. Well, knowing, so Bob Anderson's episode has just gone out this Monday, and he and Rich Walker know each other really well. So Bob runs the dive boat up at Scapa Flow, and I worked for him last year. Obviously, Rich runs GUE, and apparently they were working together when they sort of, I wouldn't say co-founded, but developed the idea of Ghost Fishing UK, and that's obviously a sort of sideline, if you will, is that the right word? It runs in unison and parallel with GUE, doesn't it? And you're involved in that now.
To be honest, Ghost Fishing is not anything to do with GUE as such. I think obviously Rich is with GUE, and he's the chairman of Ghost Fishing. But you don't have to be a GUE diver to be a diver with Ghost Fishing. No. I mean, anyone can volunteer. They do the training, is run by volunteers, and the training's free. You just have to pay like a fee just to show commitment, but obviously it's returned once you finish your training.
Right.
But yeah, it's not related to GUE. Any diver from any agency can join.
Okay.
So I mean, long term, I want to be a ghost fishing diver, but that's also more training on the list. But I just offered to help out anywhere that I can. So I kind of got nominated to be the fundraising officer. So yeah, that's my new role. So got lots of fundraising things coming up this year. So
sounds a full-on task, that, because I suppose you've got kit and equipment is the obvious stuff, but then you've also got people's gas bills, you've also got boats that you need to use, insurances and all that kind of things. So there must be quite a bit of funding. I know he does something every December, doesn't he? He tries to raise an amount of money that someone else doubles up.
Yeah, the big give. That's there will be another one going out in a couple of months, I believe. Obviously I'm not too sure on the dates yet, but it's very similar to the big give that was in December. It'll be another big give to raise. I think they'll try and raise about $5,000. But a boat trip over the weekend is a couple of grand. So it's time you've paid for the gas and the boat hire and stuff. So but yeah, and I think they're just looking more for sponsors to sponsor per boat trip.
Yeah.
Because Dry Robe will be sponsoring a boat trip, I believe, this month coming out of Plymouth. So they get some don't know the technical way of saying this. I don't want to get in trouble. But no, they obviously they're going to be on the boat and filming. So, creating
Like
their own media
promotion
for their own.
material,
Yeah. So they're going to create their own promotion material and pay for the boat. So
they're
it
actually
helps
a
both
flipping
of them out.
They're absolutely a mega lovely company. I drive up. When I was running my expedition last year, I wrote to them and they were super keen to get involved. All we were doing was promoting 3 sort of conservation marine type things around the UK. We're going to dive these 3 different places: so Scotland, Wales, North Wales and South Wales. And we said, and loads of other companies, do you want to get involved? And they're like so keen because they want to be linked with conservation more and more, rather than just people who go swimming.
Yeah.
Whilst that is probably the mainstay of customer base, people who just go wild swimming and put a dry robe on after. But if they're now linked with more and more people like me and you that are trying to do some good in the world, it promotes them as a better company, which I think, they were so helpful to us and fundamental really in making the trip a success, because the weather was terrible. So if you slap a dry robe on, instantly your morale's just gone through the roof.
Yeah.
It's such a good jacket.
They are. I kind of want to wear mine all the time, but people look at you a bit weird if you go down the shops, but they are gorgeous to wear.
Yeah.
But my job with Ghost Fishing is running the website shop where they've got like the merchandise and stuff, and then obviously the fundraising. No, there'd be like the big gives I'll be running, and then any other campaigns that we can apply for during the year, and then any other things I can think of to try and raise the money for Ghost Fishing.
What kind of stuff do they have in the sort of shop, the online shop? What do they sell on there?
Hoodies, t-shirts, bracelets made out of discarded fishing net, stickers, pegs made out of discarded. It's all to do with like the nets being discarded and turned into something else. And obviously the hoodies, which are lovely.
Yeah.
So all the money goes back to Ghost Fishing. So
what's this big drive for caves? Where did that come from?
To be honest, randomly watching Facebook and a video comes up of the Janos Mauna cave in Budapest.
Yeah.
And my mum is from Hungary, from Budapest. So it kind of like a bit more sentimental because it's literally like just by where she grew up and stuff. And so, and it's in thermal water, so it's really warm.
All right, that'll be nice. So wetsuit rather than dry suit then.
Yeah. And obviously, like as a child, always going out there to see families, you always go to like thermal pools where everyone just sits around and it's a very social event, and just like the whole of Budapest is on water. It's everything underneath is water. And so it was just from that video, I was like, one day I'm going to dive that. I don't know how. Or how to, I didn't know what route I needed to do, what training I needed to do. And that's when I was like looking on Instagram for cave divers. And I found Christine. I messaged her on it off chance, and I never heard anything, to be honest. And about 3 months later, she replied. So, and now I'm, helping her with cave diving, and
that's
hopefully,
great,
I mean, I didn't realize, when I messaged her, she literally lives down the road.
No way.
Yeah, both her and Rich live down the road, so it's literally been perfect.
Yeah. You know what? There's nothing lovelier than using Instagram, which I think is a massively more positive space than Facebook. But when, let's call them celebrities of the sport that we do, we can reach out to them, whether it takes 3 months or 3 minutes. I don't suppose it matters. The fact is she did. But when they come back to you and they can have that positive influence on where your destination sort of lies. Like I message Andy Torbett all the time. Like I pester him to death. But he's been so helpful, whether it be with training or kit that I've bought. Like I ended up on a JJ because he's got one. Not because I'm trying to copy him. I just thought it was the best looking rebreather out there, and it still is. There's no question of a doubt in my mind. It's still the best looking rebreather, and it suits what I do. However, it's flipping expensive too compared to most of them. Is that a route you're thinking of going down? Because you were asking me about that the other day, weren't you?
No, to be honest, I was signed up for a rebreather like trial taster thing at N.A.R.C. Obviously that closed and they've all got scrapped, but the guy I was doing it with said he's going to do them at Bobster, but now I can't dive at all. So, but I was just talking to him more about it, He uses a Poseidon 7.
Yeah.
So I want to try it just because it's to do with diving. I want to try everything to do with diving. I absolutely love diving. So it's just, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, just looking into, if I did love it, what's the route?
See, I don't think you are. I mean, I do think that if you're going to be a CCR diver, you need to understand how to dive first, which you've ticked that box, haven't you? You've done loads of open circuit stuff, and then you've excelled, or you've progressed to the point that I'm assuming you were happy when you finished UE, went fundies, you were happy. So I think you've got enough of a basic knowledge to dive to 40 meters on a N.A.R. rebreather.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't have to have helium in. It's obviously better to have helium in, but I don't use it. But
yeah, it's just
I think,
cost of them.
Oh, I know, it's ridiculous. And they're running, you know, I just bought, it's a year old. I've not used it for 2 months. I'm probably going to use it for 6 months, but I've just bought 3 new sensors for it, nearly 300 quid. I've not even serviced it yet.
I was in, we were picking up some twin cylinders at the service place we use, and we were speaking to him about it, and he told us like how much they are to service every year, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go down that route.
But
I mean,
I've sold my twin set. I've kept hold of my 2 side mount cylinders, 2 10 litres I use, but I probably won't put them on. Let's be honest, I'll probably sell them. But if you do progress to deeper and longer diving, it's the only way to go, because the gas requirements are minimal. And then if you did like for like dives on open circuit and closed circuit, it'd probably still be cheaper to have a rebreather without having to buy it. You know, kit wise it wouldn't, but over a period of time it'd sort of pay you back. And you're on the optimum level of oxygen throughout the dive, not just at depth or at the bottom of your dive. But I still wrestle with it, and it's dead hard, because you've got like 4 spaces: your own lungs, the loop, the jacket behind, like the wing on the back of it, and then your dry suit. It's nails. But if you can get it sorted as an open circuit dive, you're halfway there.
Yeah, that's true.
All you're really adding is the loop, and if you can do all the others blindfold, well, you can take your flipping mask off and hang around in a water column, can't you?
Yeah, so, I can now.
Well, you could.
Well, we'll see. I'm gonna do a lot of diving once I can dive again and get on with my skills. But that's what's great with the GUE. There's a good community on Facebook. If you say you want to go to Vobster and just do skills, they're quite happy to come along and do skills, because you know they dive to like 10 meters and just do skills on a platform. There's not many divers that would be happy to do that, I don't think.
No, I actually like that. And a few of my mates who are local to me here, they kind of have this assumption, because I've progressed really quickly from zero to, I wouldn't say hero, but you know what I mean. And I've got a podcast, I've got a YouTube channel, and they think I'm some big thing in comparison to what they are, or what we were when we were like in the same peer group. You don't want to dive me anymore. I'm like, oh, you won't want to do that. I'm like, actually, I think of nothing better than going to my local quarry and hanging around on one of the platforms and doing some drills. Because then when I go doing the kind of diving I want to do, whether it be Scapa Flow or a local bay, just hanging around with my camera, I'm actually brilliant then. What I don't want to do is go to a quarry and dive the same wreck at 20 meters every Saturday, because that just bores the tits off me. Yeah, it's absolutely terrible, isn't it? So I totally get that when you're thinking about training.
But have you dived Vobster?
Yeah, only on my rebreather course. We did like was it a Tuesday, Wednesday? Yeah, Monday was like the unboxing day and going through how you take it down, rebuild it, clean it, and that. Tuesday, Wednesday was at Vobster. Thursday, Friday was out of Plymouth.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's just I've had literally like 8 months constantly diving at Vobster. It's so boring now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy to go there every weekend and do skills. I mean, absolutely love doing that. So, and it's just because it's so much harder in the shallow water to like hold your buoyancy.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, yeah, GUE divers are always more than happy to come along and do skills.
How did you find you kicking, your different styles of kicking, like whether it be the helicopter turns or going backwards, especially?
Going backwards, I'm not so great at, I'll be honest. That will be something I have to work on a lot, especially if I want to use my camera. But yeah, I know that helicopter turns I was okay with. And flutter kick, because I was a new diver, Rich said I'd probably find that really easy, and I literally just took to that straight away. Butterfly, frog kick, sorry. I am slowly getting there, shall I say.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, because I used to swim a lot and I used to do breaststroke, so it's just slightly different leg movement that I'm naturally trying to do, like a breaststroke kick, which is not quite right.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you've just opened a can of worms now. So I'm training, I've got my swimming, what do you call it? Swimming assessment in June
Mhm.
for the British Swim Register, and doing the breaststroke kick or the whole pull kick glide thing is just horrendous. So you need to give me some tips while you're on, because I understand the sort of shape that you've got to make with your hands, that sort of keyhole shape, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I understand that you've got to glide. And I'm watching people, so I train with a team and then swim on my own every morning. But are you supposed to undulate? So as your arms come over, I'm not doing butterfly now. Go on, do it. So your arms go like that, don't they? Are you supposed to sort of undulate with your arms and head as you go out for the glide?
Yeah, I mean, I always like when you reach forward, put my head down
Let
into
the
the
water go
water.
over your head as such,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's more like dynamic, and then pull your arms back.
Because I find without doing that, when I was doing the kick, pull, glide, or whatever order you do them in, I'd look a bit, I could see the bottom of the pool, and I'd just almost stop. But I'm quite flat, my trim's all right, to be fair. I'm not
Yeah.
sagging like, with my feet almost touching the bottom, any of that. But I just feel like, how can it be more hydrodynamic? So obviously I watch people because that's how I learn. It's no point just listening or picking up a book. And I've seen this undulation on a few people, so I'm trying that, and I feel like I have got more of a glide. But now the kick's an issue. Both ankles, both knees, both hips are like wrecking me. And I'm trying to do this sort of modified frog kick as such, Anna.
Yeah.
Bringing them right in and slapping them behind. But I don't know what I'm doing right or wrong because the frog kick I've no fins on for.
Yeah, no, it's can you get someone to film you underwater in the pool?
Yeah. The problem I've got is with the class that I'm in. So that Monday night when I do with the swim team, one of the guys is 6'7" and he's got size 15 feet, whereas
Oh my God.
I'm 5'5" and I've got like hooves. I don't even have feet, honestly, like hooves. So I've got no kick whatsoever. So it's a proper joke. I don't think I'm a
Yeah.
million miles off, but I think you're right there. If I can get Ali, my wife, to come with me, taking the GoPro and just follow me up and
Yeah, I
down or
mean,
whatever.
that would help. I think that's the only way to learn, is to watch yourself, because then you're like, oh shit, that's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
So,
Because
I mean,
maybe I am sagging down. Maybe my ass is properly too low and I don't know.
I mean, I've not swam properly. Like, I used to swim for South London under 21s when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I haven't swam properly in like 18 years. So quite a while. But yeah, like my main stroke was butterfly as well. So
Well, that's one. I never got taught that at school. We got the other three strokes, and this
yeah.
is on. I only have to do 100 meters, so it's only 4 lengths. I think I've got 2 minutes 10. So I timed myself doing one length of it today, and that's 30 seconds for one length. But I were
Yeah.
absolutely hanging out my arse when I got to the end. So
It's,
to
it's
then do another three sounds a bit gruesome, but I'm getting there, and so I've definitely I'm comfortable with that. My arms are straight as I bring them over,
yeah.
and I've got the two kicks. They're not so that the dolphin kicks are not horrendous. I don't think. Coach seems
No,
alright with
it's
them.
just, I think it's just, you got to keep practicing that skill, because
Yeah.
butterfly, literally, so many people can't do it because they feel like they're drowning. It's just, it's such a strenuous stroke to do, I think.
Yeah.
So
What I'm going to do is I've added it onto every training day that I do now. That I'll do. How many will it be now? Be 8 lengths, so 4 25s. So I'll do, or 4 25 by 25. So I'll do 25 in butterfly, and then 25 coming back in breaststroke.
yeah.
Just to try and bring up that resilience. But what I'll probably better doing is dropping the breaststroke, even though it's my weakest stroke, and doing crawl, because it's such more gassy and powerful stroke that
Yeah.
actually when I swap that then for butterfly, it won't be too much of a mission. But I just find it's an easier stroke than doing butterfly coming back.
Yeah,
So I've
that's
had that
true.
everyone, I'll start building them up, but I don't know.
I mean,
So
what happens if you don't do it within the time limit? You don't pass.
don't pass and go back and do it again.
Yeah.
So
Oh
there's half a
God.
dozen elements that you've got to get through. One's like rock climbing, trampolining, and so on. And each of them are assessed. And if you meet the grade, you get like a certificate to say you've passed. And then you put your application in to join the register, and then hopefully get taken on as a stunt performer. Which would be, you know, a bit of a dream, because I'm like still a little boy in the head. I'll easily look 60 in the face, 100 in the body, but like 18 in the head. So like, the stuff that they do for a living, I would do for free. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Much like you know, I've no death wish, but you want to do exciting, dangerous things, don't you? Like diving in a cave. Let's be honest, ain't the safest thing, but it's well exciting and it's beautiful and it's amazing and you meet cool people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't go into, like, we go into mines and stuff a lot. And a lot of people are like, I'm just not doing that. I don't feel safe, like, let alone doing it in water. There's so many people just can't even begin to imagine what that's like. But I literally that's all I want to do.
Yeah, and the history of it is just immense. How did they do that a couple of 100 years ago, them mines, when today's modern technology would, like, whatever they did took them hundreds of years to do it would take them in 10 minutes.
Yeah, but no, it's cave diving is literally just all I can think about and all I want to do, and I don't care how like long it takes me to get there. I'm not giving up until I've got there.
Nice one. I like that. That's mega. Is there anything else that we've not talked about that you perhaps think we could talk about that you haven't, that you wanted to?
To be honest, I just think more people should dive, and like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm too old to start diving, but I mean, I was 39 when I started.
Yeah.
So it's never too old to start, and it's not an expensive hobby. Everyone seems to think it's very expensive, but it's like once you've got your kit, that's it, like servicing and that. But actually, for a cylinder of air or nitrox, it's not a massive amount, and you can just see so much of the world. It's like you think 80% of the planet's water. Everyone should go and see it.
Absolutely.
Everyone you speak to and say you're a diver, they're like, oh God, I'd love to do that, but it's never going to be on.
Why aren't you doing it? Yeah.
I know, it's so easy. Even when we went to Wookey Hole the other day, and the man that was at the section of Wookey Hole where the like first cave diving ever took place was telling us about it. And then we're like, do you dive? He's like, no, but I've always wanted to. I'm like, you're here to, you know, telling the history of cave diving, but you've never dived. And then we were speaking to him more, and he lived 2 miles from Bobstar. I was like,
wow.
I just, why are you not doing that?
I hate how some people are comfortable being comfortable. You know, being a spectator in life, don't be it.
No, I mean, I gave him Richard's details, so hopefully if he gets a phone call from someone at Wookey, that's...
Well, if you do speak to Rich, tell him he still owes me a GUE mug. I sent him one of mine last year after he was on. Literally the only person, because he was drinking out of a GUE mug, and he's literally the only person that I've sent a mug to for nothing.
Oh, really?
Because he said, "Oh, I'll sort you one out." So I thought I'll send him one, and he will. And he keeps saying, "Oh yeah, forgot about that." Or they're stuck in... When COVID had just finished or something, he was like, "Oh, they're stuck in customs somewhere," and then I still not had it. But he probably forgot. Probably didn't know my address.
You have to remind him. I think he's in Croatia at the minute doing a Tech 1 course. So.
Oh, lucky guy. Flipping love it, go out there.
Keeps showing photos. I'm like, oh, it's nice weather over there.
Yeah. Right, well, thanks for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure to find out a little bit more. Right. And hopefully it'll inspire some people to get down that GUE route and be better in the water for us all, because there's nothing worse than being on a dive site following a couple of people who don't know that the bottom behind them has just got kicked up 10 feet in the water.
Yeah, that's true. But no one should think like GUE is something scary. It's just good basic diving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, their tech courses, I can't comment on that. Like, they look intense, but the fundamentals course, if you want to be a better diver, 100%, it's just worth it.
Happy days. Right, and so you're off on the school one now, aren't you?
Yes. Get the brats.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Right, mate, I'll speak to you soon, yeah?
All right, okay. Bye.
So that brings us to the end of the episode, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's guest enough to subscribe to the Fancy a Brew podcast and leave us a 5-star review wherever you download your podcasts. Don't forget to take a look at Dive Life's website and social media channels, as they always have some great deals available. and you can use promo code ATND10 at the checkout to get some money off any non-discounted items. For more information on this episode, take a look at the description or follow us on Instagram for all the latest news and upcoming releases. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next one.